Urgent. On July 5th, Archangel Michael says you'll be tested. Someone close will try to break you. He orders you to read this now or face betrayal alone when it hits. Don't skip this one. Something is shifting in the air around you. Can you feel it? It's subtle, like a drop in temperature before a storm breaks. And yet it's heavy, pressing on your spirit with silent urgency. Archangel Michael has sounded the alarm, not once but 3 times. This is not symbolic. This is not poetic. This is a divine order. You are about to be tested on July 5th, and the test won't come from strangers. It won't arrive in the form of accidents, fate, or storms, but from someone you trust. And that's why he is commanding you to open your eyes and read every word. Because betrayal that comes from within always cuts deeper. It's not the enemy outside your gate, but the hand you held in peace. You felt it, haven't you? The unease, the silence that lingers too long. Their smile no longer warms you. Their tone has a crack in it. But you kept pushing that gut feeling down, telling yourself, I'm just being paranoid. No, you weren't. That was Michael whispering, watch that one. And now he's shouting. He's pushing this message before your eyes in desperation. He's saying, if you don't prepare now, you'll face the blow alone. Type I am protected to get the blessing 4646. Someone close to you is being used as a tool of your testing. Not by accident, but by design. They are being spiritually manipulated. Jealousy, resentment, or fear is opening cracks in their soul. The enemy found an access point through someone you love. And their betrayal won't look like a sword. It will look like love twisted. They'll say it's for your good. They'll claim they are helping you. But beneath it all is a dagger they've been sharpening for weeks. July 5th is the moment they strike, and if you're not ready, it'll break you. Archangel Michael is not here to alarm you. He's here to arm you. Because when betrayal is personal, preparation must be divine. The script you're reading is not coincidence. It's a divine intersection. A divine download placed in front of you for your protection. Michael doesn't waste words. He doesn't give warnings without reason. So if he says you'll be tested, believe it. If he says you must read this, obey it. Because in the spiritual realm, knowledge is your sword and obedience is your shield. And July 5th isn't far. It's knocking at your door. Type I am rising to get blessing 5678. Your instincts were never lying. They were suppressed divine intelligence. That odd moment, that confusing glance, that unexplained tension, it was real. But now it's time to stop dismissing it and start discerning it. Michael is pulling back the veil today, and you must look deeply, bravely. Because once this betrayal unfolds, you cannot say, I didn't know. You are being shown. You are being warned. You are being loved divinely. And this love, though fierce, is your greatest weapon. Let us begin. Let us break open what they've hidden. Type I am awakened to get the blessing 1212. You must understand, betrayal never begins on the surface. It is born in the shadows of the spirit long before it takes form. Archangel Michael wants you to know that this test on July 5th is not merely about human conflict. It's spiritual warfare in disguise. Someone in your circle, someone you've loved, helped, or confided in, has become a host for an invisible influence set against your destiny. This is not about hatred. It is about access. The enemy needed a door, and this person left it open through envy, pride, fear, or bitterness. You were chosen. You were elevated. You carry light. and your elevation triggered an agitation in their soul. They smiled, but their spirit stirred with comparisons and resentments. They clapped, but their hearts secretly whispered, "Why not me?" And the enemy heard it. Demonic forces are opportunistic, always seeking weak spots in your surroundings to slide through. Michael wants you to watch reactions, not words, because spirits hide in tones, expressions, shifts, and silent tensions. Type "I am shielded to get the blessing" 2222. You've probably already sensed it. They are present but distant. They nod, but their energy flickers. Their support feels conditional. They echo your ideas in public but question them in private. They congratulate you, then plant subtle doubts in your path. This duality isn't accidental. They are fighting a spirit of sabotage. But the danger lies in your closeness to them. You trust them. Michael says, don't confuse history with loyalty. Just because they've walked with you doesn't mean they should war with you. He has tried warning you before. A dream you shrug off. That moment of anxiety before replying to their message. That inner tightening when they smiled at you last week. Those weren't random. That was divine discomfort sent to protect you. But still, you extended grace, and Michael does not fault you for that. But now he says grace must give way to discernment, because grace without boundaries breeds betrayal, and betrayal, when ignored, always intensifies. Type "I am alert to get the blessing" 4949. This person who will be used against you is not a monster, but the spirit working through them is ruthless and ancient. It knows your weaknesses. It knows your patterns of forgiveness. It knows how easily you silence your own intuition. That's why Michael is issuing a command, not a suggestion. Pay attention. Give your posture. Do not be available in naivety. If your heart stays open while your gates are unguarded, you'll be welcoming a wound dressed as love. This betrayal will not be loud. It will be subtle. It may come in the form of a lie wrapped in concern. A decision made behind your back, then justified to your face. A conversation about you in rooms you were excluded from. A delay in their response when you needed them most. A strange alliance between them and someone who opposes you. All these are signs. What? Listen. Guard without bitterness. Protect without becoming paranoid. Be wise without becoming cold. Type "I am strong to get blessing" 7373. Michael says, July 5th isn't the beginning of betrayal, it's the reveal. The spirit working behind this person has been building for weeks. It's been gathering small pieces of resentment like stones in a sling. And that day will be the moment it lets them fly. But you, if you heed this word, will not be wounded. You will be fortified. You will be divinely 5 steps ahead. Because truth is your armor. Obedience is your sword. And the fact that you're reading this means your angels are already positioned. From here on, notice their posture when you succeed. Notice their tone when others compliment you. Notice the words they choose when speaking about your purpose. Don't overlook the signs just because they are subtle. Spirits of betrayal rarely walk in shouting, they whisper. But Michael is not whispering. He is warning, prepare. July 5th will test your spirit, your discernment, and your resolve. But it will also confirm your strength and position if you listen. If this word has stirred your spirit and ignited boldness within you, consider showing your support with a super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength to those journeying from betrayal to blessing. You can also support our mission through PayPal donation by clicking the support here link in the video description. Every contribution makes a meaningful impact and helps us keep creating and sharing with you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance designed for your breakthrough. Type "I am watching" to get the blessing 5858. From the moment you were marked for a greater path, Archangel Michael hath been circling you like fire around goal. Not because you're fragile, but because your calling is rare, and rare callings attract uncommon warfare. You felt it in moments when destruction should have swallowed you, but somehow, miraculously, you stood shaken but untouched. It wasn't luck. It wasn't resilience alone. It was divine interference, Michael blocking unseen attacks. His protection isn't always loud or visible. It shows up in delays you hated but needed. It's in the relationships that ended abruptly without closure, in plans that fell apart only to reveal hidden traps. You may have cried over those endings, unaware they were rescues. Michael routed you from betrayals you never knew were planned. He canceled meetings you begged to attend. He exposed people when you were too blind to see. Type "I am surrounded" to get the blessing 6868. This current warning about July 5th is not sudden. It's the result of months, maybe years, of Michael observing patterns. He's been watching the ones closest to you for signs of fracture, waiting for that shift in spirit that signals compromise. Now that it's here, he's moving swiftly, not to scare you, but to preserve what he's been building in your life. He protects not just your peace, but your position. And your position is what this betrayal is designed to sabotage. Every time you chose growth, you unknowingly triggered resistance. Every time you forgave, your light grew brighter, and so did envy. Michael has been assigning angels to hold back forces that wanted to use the very people you love as weapons. But now, someone has yielded. A crack has formed, and through that crack, the spirit of division has crept in. That's why this July 5th is a divine checkpoint, a moment of reckoning where truth meets exposure. Type "I am guarded" to get the blessing 9090. Michael's protection also came in whispers to your soul. You remember them, those moments when your spirit said don't go, when your chest felt tight for no reason in someone's presence, when you felt drained after conversations with a specific person. That was him nudging you, not feared foresight. You ignored some of those signs, but now you won't. Because this time, the warning is wrapped in urgency, and the betrayal isn't future, it's already in motion. This betrayal won't look like an argument or explosion. It will come dressed in care, delivered with a smile. But Michael is giving you X-ray vision, discernment over charisma. You will see past tone and into intention. He's sharpening your senses, anointing your spirit with vigilance. Because betrayal cannot be stopped, but it can be outmaneuvered. You are not to fight this person. You are to outgrow their reach, not with bitterness, but with boundaries and clarity. Type "I am elevated" to get blessing 7878. Michael's protection is not only about defense, it's about revelation. He is pulling back the curtain before July 5th so you'll be ready. Ready to identify the source. Ready to redirect your energy. Ready to say no without guilt and yes to discernment. You are not the same as you once were. You went through to it. This time, you will not fall for charm over character. You will not confuse access with alignment. In the days leading up to July 5th, Michael urges stillness. Watch the patterns. Feel the energetic shifts. Speak less. Observe more. Let their spirit speak before their mouth. He's not asking you to fear, he's commanding you to perceive. And perception is what will save you from emotional collapse. Because when the dagger of betrayal comes, it is not your heart that should receive it, but your wisdom. And wisdom, when armed with truth, never breaks. Type I am wise to get the blessing 4545. Archangel Michael says the betrayal forming around you will not come without signs, clear, divine markers to detect it. This is your armor now. Not suspicion, but spiritual recognition. The person in question has already begun shifting in energy. You may not have labeled it betrayal yet, but you've noticed it. That uncomfortable pause before they speak your name. That sudden change in eye contact or the forced laugh. The little critiques wrapped in compliments, tatters dipped in sugar. It began when your life started aligning in unexpected ways. The doors that opened, the confidence you found, the peace you claimed, all of it silently disturbed them, though they never said a word. Michael warns, the more you rise, the more the envious retreat in disguise. They may still text you, show up, or speak kindly, but the intent behind their connection is distorted now. They seek access, not alignment. Proximity, not purity. They are not sent anymore. They are positioned to observe and delay. Type I am aligned to get the blessing 2323. You'll know it's them by how they subtly dishonor your growth. They question your timing, your methods, your motives. Not directly, never openly, but with surgical precision. Are you sure you're ready? You're acting different lately. They plant seeds of doubt like it's concern. They pretend it's love, but it's layered with their own fear. Because your growth reminds them of their stagnation, and your light exposes the shadows they never confronted. Michael reveals a pattern. Betrayal begins with conversation. Not with you, but about you. In rooms where your spirit isn't present. They've mentioned your name recently. Yes, they have. But not with pride or support. With subtle sarcasm or criticism. The spirit using them knows words create vibrations. It encourages them to speak negativity into your path quietly. So when you start feeling drained or misaligned, check the ones who have had access to your recent breakthroughs. Type I am guarded to get the blessing 6767. Another sign is misalignment in your communication. They suddenly misunderstand you. Twist your intentions. You say something civil, they hear something threatening. Not because you've changed, but because their perception has. Their lens is now filtered through spiritual distortion. And when that lens cracks, loyalty always gets blurry. They feel you pulling away, so they guilt you for your boundaries. But boundaries are not betrayal. They are protection from betrayal. Michael says you'll also notice a change in their presence. They'll become unusually silent when you share good news. They'll avoid celebrating your elevation with authentic joy. They may delay their responses, give dry affirmations, or worse, try to one-up your progress with passive competition. This isn't about envy alone. It's about assignment. The enemy has activated them, subtly, to distract and dismantle. But you are no longer an easy target. You are now aware. Type I am prepared to get the blessing 5252. Watch their behavior when others praise you in public. Do they affirm you or fall strangely quiet? Do they look proud or uncomfortable? Supportive or sarcastic? These reactions aren't accidental. They are revelations. Michael is using their body language, tone, and energy as divine alerts to your spirit, flashing. This one is shifting. You are not to confront in chaos, but to acknowledge in clarity. Distance in wisdom is louder than defense in emotion. Also notice how your spirit feels after being around them. Do you feel energized or exhausted? Aligned or anxious? These are not moods. These are spiritual diagnostics. Your body is interpreting what your soul is sensing. Michael says, when peace leaves after they arrive, take note. That is not chemistry. That is contamination. This doesn't mean they are evil. It means they've become open. And what flows through them now can either heal or harm you. Type I am discerning to get the blessing 8080. There is a reason this betrayal has been allowed to form. Not because you deserve pain, but because you carry purpose. Michael wants you to understand, this isn't punishment, it's promotion. Every person with divine assignment must pass through the fire. And betrayal is not just a wound, it is a refiner's flame. You've been marked, not just to survive this moment, but to emerge from it with clarity, elevation, and new authority. This test is heaven's way of closing old cycles with finality. The person being used against you is a symbol. They represent every relationship you've held onto too long, every pattern you've repeated out of guilt, not growth, every open door you left unguarded out of compassion. Michael says this test will not just expose one betrayal, it will break a cycle of tolerating those who drain your destiny. July 5th is not merely an attack, it is a transition. A crossing from appeasement to authority. Type I am transitioning to get the blessing 3535. You were chosen for this because you've outgrown the room you're in. And before God promotes, He separates. Before elevation comes revelation. And before new connections, old attachments must be revealed. This betrayal is the crack in the wall of your comfort. You've loved too long without reciprocation. You've poured too deeply into those who withheld their sincerity. Now, heaven is draining the swamp quietly, through this test. This test is not about your reaction, it's about your recognition. Will you finally believe what your spirit has been telling you? Will you accept that not everyone can go where you're going? Will you release those who have only been loyal to your lesser version? Michael says, this isn't heartbreak, it's house cleaning. God is not breaking your heart. He's breaking your habit of settling. He's removing familiarity so that you make room for favor. And favor can't flourish in the soil of fear-based relationships. Type I am ready to get the blessing 6464. Some of your greatest spiritual delays came not from enemies, but from friends who weren't assigned to your future. Michael has seen you hesitate to grow fully out of loyalty. He's watched you dim your power to keep peace. He's heard the prayers you whispered at night, asking for clarity. This test is the answer to that prayer. It's the severing that will save you from spiritual stagnation. And it's arriving on July 5th, not to harm, but to launch you. You've already proven your heart. You've already mastered mercy. Now you must master movement, away from those who block flow. This test is not about proving you're good. It's about proving you're ready to protect what's sacred. Michael says, some people love your vulnerability, but they can't handle your vision. And that's the tension. This betrayal will come from someone who clapped for your healing but quietly panicked at your strength. Type I am rising above to get the blessing 3434. You were chosen because you will pass this with wisdom. You will not curse them. You will outgrow them. You will not panic, you will posture. And in doing so, you will step into the next phase of your calling. There is promotion wrapped in this pain. Not just emotional elevation, but spiritual unlocking. Doors will open after this betrayal that were spiritually jammed. because your endurance proves your eligibility for overflow. Michael says this: July 5th is not the breaking of your heart. It's the breaking open of your path. Everything that's been held back, because you were holding on, will be released once you pass this test with clarity. And clarity will not come through confrontation. It will come through stillness, obedience, and spiritual detachment. You are not losing someone. You are losing what was limiting you. And what's waiting on the other side is divine acceleration. If this word has stirred your spirit and ignited boldness within you, consider showing your support with a super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength to those journeying from betrayal to blessing. You can also support our mission through PayPal donation by clicking the Support Here link in the video description. Every contribution makes a meaningful impact and helps us keep creating and sharing with you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance designed for your breakthrough. Type I am chosen to get the blessing 7171. Now that you know this test is approaching with precision, Archangel Michael says it's time to shift your posture. No longer reactive, no longer passive, but spiritually strategic. This is not a moment to fear, but to fortify. July 5th is not just a date, it is a divine checkpoint. And how you arrive to that moment will determine what unlocks next. Michael doesn't warn without preparing a path. He's not sending you into a battle, he's walking you through a transition. Preparation starts in your atmosphere. Clean your space. Organize your environment. Get rid of anything that carries old energies or stagnant ties. That shirt that holds a memory. That gift from the one who betrayed. It's time to make room, physically and spiritually. Michael moves best in cleared spaces, and clutter hides spiritual residue. You're not just discarding objects, you're releasing agreements. Agreements you didn't know you made with energies meant to slow you. Type I am clearing space to get the blessing 4949. Next comes silence, the sacred kind. You don't need to announce this transformation to anyone. Silence is your spiritual strategy now, not secrecy, but sanctuary. The less you explain, the more the divine reveals. Michael says, stop trying to convince those who already decided. Let your growth speak for you. Let your stillness confuse the enemy. When you go quiet, spirits around you get loud, and their noise will confirm what your silence has exposed. Prayer becomes your positioning in the season, not the frantic kind, not begging, but alignment. Each morning before July 5th, speak peace into your home. Say aloud, no hidden agenda shall prosper around me. Every disguised weapon is being unveiled before my eyes. Your words are spiritual keys. Use them like armor. Pray for discernment, not just protection. Because God wants you to see, not just survive. Type I am covered to get the blessing 6262. Fasting may also be necessary, even for a day. Not to earn protection, but to clear static from your spirit. Fasting sharpens your awareness. It silences the soul's noise, even if it's just social media or conversations with draining people. Michael is asking for intentional separation. Pull back, not in isolation, but in preparation. The crowd can't go where clarity is required, and in the quiet, heaven will whisper the exact name you need to watch. Journal what you feel. Track what changes in people around you. If a name rises in your spirit repeatedly, write it down. Don't dismiss it. Don't call it paranoia. You asked for clarity. This is it arriving in gentle signals. Record your dreams, your discomforts, your delays. These aren't coincidences. They are spiritual trail markers. Michael is speaking through patterns, timing, and subtle changes, and your documentation of these signs will later become confirmation. Type I am listening to get the blessing 8787. On July 5th, stay grounded. Don't overshare. Don't overextend. Watch for unusual tension, emotional shifts, or triggered responses. Don't confront. Observe. Don't expose a position. Your wisdom is the trap for betrayal, not your temper. Speak only when necessary. Respond only with clarity. Michael says, do not defend yourself where God is exposing others. Let their actions build the case you never need to present. And when it's time to move, do it without explanation. But more powerful preparation, forgiveness, pre-forgiveness. Before they betray, forgive them in advance. Why? Because it disconnects the emotional hook. It keeps you from bleeding where you should be building. Michael doesn't want you to enter this test bitter. He wants you empowered, centered, and clear. They won't expect your grace, and that will be your strength. You don't win by striking. You win by evolving. Type I am centered to get the blessing 3131. July 5th is not a storm. It is a sacred shift. And preparation is not about anxiety. It's about authority. You will walk into that day calm, precise, and unmoved. Because you are not reacting. You are responding from heaven's seat. You have the advantage now. Not in knowledge alone, but in posture. Michael has revealed the blueprint. The enemy will see you prepared. And when the moment comes, you will not falter. You will rise into the version of yourself that betrayal cannot reach. Type I'm unshakable to get the blessing 5959. The day is set. The stage is already being prepared. July 5th is not random. It's a spiritual convergence. Heaven and darkness will both be watching how you respond. Not to punish or reward you like a performance, but to assess your readiness to carry what's next. Archangel Michael has shown you who may be involved. He has trained your senses to recognize energy shifts. Now he says, stand your ground. Don't shrink. Don't flinch. Expect it to begin subtly. It might come as a miscommunication, a comment that stings. Someone close may question your motives or challenge your choices. They'll cloak their offense in concern or just being honest. It won't feel like war. It will feel like emotional static. But that's how spiritual battles begin, as confusion, not combat. Michael says, pay attention to tone more than topic. It's not what they say. It's what their spirit reveals behind the words. Type I'm anchored to get the blessing 8585. If your heart starts racing, pause. If you feel pressure to explain yourself, breathe deeper. If tears rise, hold space for them but don't drown in them. This is not the moment to defend. This is the moment to discern. The enemy wants you to react emotionally and seem unstable. But heaven wants you to stand in authority, calm, composed. Don't match the tone of betrayal with panic. Respond with silence, wisdom, and the power of withdrawal. They may bait you. They may twist your words. They may say something you once shared in confidence. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to change their mind. Michael says, this is not a courtroom. This is a confirmation. Your job is not to prove your purity. It's to protect your peace. When the betrayal is revealed, your silence will echo with strength. When they expect outrage, give them stillness. Stillness terrifies darkness because it shows you're governed by heaven. I'm silent strength to get the blessing 2323. There's a possibility it won't even be verbal. It might be an action. Someone going behind your back. You may receive news of something done without your knowledge. Michael says, you may feel the sting, but don't sit in it. The sting is temporary. The shift it brings is permanent. Let it push you forward, not pull you under. Do not retaliate. Do not bend to mutual connections. Revenge is the distraction. Release is the power. Instead, thank the moment silently. Yes, thank the divine for pulling the curtain back. Say in your spirit, I see now. Thank you for truth. You are not betrayed. You are unburdened. Every revelation is a recalibration. Every wound is a window to a higher version of you. Michael reminds you, betrayal does not mean broken. It means the breaking away of what can't go with you. I'm unburdened to get the blessing 3030. After the test occurs, retreat. Not in weakness, but in worship. Return to your journal. Record everything you noticed. Even what felt small. Your mood. Their eyes, the timing. This is the blueprint heaven gave you. It's not just about surviving. It's about documenting divine patterns. What you learn from this test becomes armor for your next elevation. Michael says this is how the chosen are trained. Through strategy. You're not being punished. You're being prepared as a commander. Allow yourself time to grieve. But do not regress. Do not let disappointment reopen old doors. Don't call the wrong person looking for comfort. Don't seek validation from the very ones who doubted you. Let the fire pass through. Let the tears cleanse, not flood. Because what's coming after this will require new strength. And your strength will be built from the ruins of this moment. This is not your undoing. It's your unfolding. I'm unfolding to get the blessing 9191. The day will come and go. But what remains is your clarity. You'll begin to see who is truly for you, and who was only around you. You'll walk lighter, speak with more purpose, and trust with precision. Michael says, July 5th will not destroy you. It will deliver you from the illusion of closeness without connection. And when the dust settles, your future will feel less crowded, not because you lost love, but because you gained truth. Truth that cannot be unlearned, ignored, or dismissed. I am purified to get the blessing 1212. Once July 5th passes, a spiritual vacuum will follow. A space will be left where once there was weight, now clarity. You will feel it first in the silence. Not a hollow silence, but the kind that feels like peace breathing. The absence of tension, of second guessing, of watching your back. Michael says, this is the sound of divine confirmation. You didn't just pass a test, you broke a chain. And heaven is now releasing what was waiting behind that bondage. Every act of obedience opens a gate. You didn't just hear the warning, you honored it. You didn't just see the signs, you adjusted your posture. And now, heaven moves in real time. I expect realignment to come quickly. People will fall away without chaos, just quiet exits. Opportunities will open that were previously stalled or blocked. Your spirit will rise, because the weight of manipulation has lifted. I am lighter to get the blessing 4747. Michael says some of you will feel a physical shift. More energy, clearer thoughts, deeper rest. That's not a placebo. That's what happens when demonic interference is removed. That person who betrayed you was unknowingly creating soul static. Their energy disrupted your flow, clouded your vision. But now, the path is clear, and heaven wastes no time. Within days, you'll begin receiving divine nudges, new names, new calls. Don't resist what looks unfamiliar. It's your next circle being revealed. This test wasn't just about protecting you from betrayal. It was about positioning you for higher connections. God could not bless you fully in a contaminated atmosphere, and Michael made sure that environment was purified through separation. Now, what enters your life must meet your new standard. You won't chase energy anymore, you'll attract it. And you will recognize real alignment by how your spirit responds. No reviewing, and no guessing. Just peace that speaks louder than words. Type I am aligned to get the blessing 1217. Financial favor will also follow for many. Why? Because betrayal often blocks provision. As long as you held on to what was draining you, heaven held back what would have empowered you. But now that you've released the counterfeit connection, you've made space for authentic supply. Expect unexpected income, deals, clients, or ideas to flow. Because God rewards the obedient, not just the gifted. You'll also notice your creativity return. Where once you felt blocked or uninspired, now fresh ideas will pour in like water. That's because inspiration thrives in clean atmospheres. A betrayal clouded your ability to dream clearly. But now, even your imagination will feel revived. Michael says, pay attention to what ideas come right after July 5th. They carry divine fingerprints and future blueprints. Type I am flowing to get the blessing 6666. Some relationships may be restored, but only those aligned. Don't be surprised if someone you thought was gone for good reaches out with clarity, healing, or pure intention. But this time, you'll have the discernment to decide rightly. Michael says, not every return is restoration. Some are just reminders. Only accept what resonates in your soul, not just your history. You've passed the test of loyalty, now you must pass the test of standards. Because what comes next must reflect your new inner world. A deep spiritual reward awaits as well. Vision. Not dreams, not vague inklings, but crystal spiritual sight. You'll begin seeing people, plans, and paths with startling precision. The fog of confusion has been lifted by your obedience. And now Michael will begin showing you what's next with clarity. No more delays caused by misplaced trust. No more dim light to keep others comfortable. Your clarity will become your compass and your covering. Type I am walking in vision to get the blessing 7878. The reward is not just what comes to you, it's what leaves. Anxiety will lessen. The need to explain yourself will vanish. You'll stop entertaining what ifs and start living what is. You'll begin to walk in full expression of your calling, because betrayal no longer anchors your energy in survival. Michael says, July 5th will not mark the day of your loss. It will mark the day you stepped into your rightful rhythm, and that rhythm will carry a frequency only blessings can hear. If this word has stirred your spirit and ignited boldness within you, consider showing your support with a super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength to those journeying from betrayal to blessing. You can also support our mission through PayPal donation by clicking the support here link in the video description. Every contribution makes a meaningful impact and helps us keep creating and sharing with you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance designed for your breakthrough. Type I am released into rhythm to get the blessing 6868. There is a sacred stillness after the storm has passed. But it's not emptiness. It's elevation waiting for movement. Once the betrayal has been revealed, once you've obeyed, once you've chosen peace over panic, clarity over chaos, Michael says the next chapter begins immediately. The rise. This is not symbolic. This is not subtle. Your new season does not whisper. It announces itself. And it begins with you standing taller in the spirit. The same person who tried to break you has now served their purpose. Your betrayal was a bridge. A bitter one, but necessary. Without it, you would have stayed attached to what was outgrown. You would have kept carrying weight you had no business lifting. Now you are lighter. Not because you lost, but because you let go. That release triggered a ripple in the spiritual realm. And now, Michael is shifting the spotlight, not for applause, but for assignment visibility. You are being seen for who you are. Type I am rising now to get the blessing 4747. You may feel exposed, but that's because you've been revealed. God is showcasing the healed version of you. The wiser, quieter, more refined you. And this version can no longer be hidden behind old shadows. People will begin to notice your shift without you saying a word. You'll walk into rooms differently. The room will know. Michael says this is the fruit of your obedience. Divine authority that doesn't need introduction. This rise isn't about revenge, it's about restoration. You're not being elevated to prove them wrong. You're being elevated because you proved yourself right. You honored your intuition. You trusted divine strategy. And now your reward is influence without striving. Doors will open not because you knock louder, but because your obedience already unlocked the access. You will no longer chase spaces. Spaces will call you in. Type I am walking in favor to get the blessing 2929. Your voice will change in this season. Not just what you say, but how it echoes. You'll speak and people will pause, not out of fear, but reverence. Because when a soul rises after betrayal and stays soft, heaven grants it authority. That kind of gentleness is power. You'll begin to teach others, without trying, just by being. Your energy will mentor before your words do. That's the anointing Michael is placing upon you now. You'll also find your spiritual discernment increasing. Suddenly, things will feel louder in your spirit. You'll hear dishonor even in polite tones. You'll sense deception in beautiful packages. But you will no longer doubt yourself when it comes. Because you've passed the tests that required trusting your senses. Now, heaven trusts you with deeper insight. And insight is what leads, guards, and governs spiritual generals. Type I am trusted by heaven to get the blessing 5454. You will also notice divine acceleration. Things that took months will happen in days. Where there were blockages, now there's momentum. Where there was silence, now there's favor that flows. Why? Because spiritual gravity shifts after obedience. Heaven moves faster when you're lighter. Michael says, do not be surprised by sudden elevation. You're not being lucky. You're being launched. Relationships will change too, but in your favor. New connections, new allies, new voices that pour instead of pull. And they won't need explanation to understand you. They'll speak your spiritual language without translation. These are the ones heaven had on hold, waiting for your release. They carry keys to doors you didn't know existed. And your alignment with them will unlock miracles. You're not just rising, you're rising with divine help. Type I am ascending with grace to get the blessing 8181. But Michael says this, stay humble. Stay clear. Stay aligned. Your rise is not for ego. It's for assignment. Every promotion carries new pressure. Every elevation attracts new eyes. But don't let visibility distract you from intimacy with heaven. Keep the same posture that got you here, still, discerning, steady. Let favor serve your purpose, not replace your dependence. Because in your rise, pride is your only threat, and humility is still your greatest shield. Type I am rising with wisdom to get the blessing 1313. Archangel Michael says, the attack wasn't random, it was strategic. The betrayal wasn't personal, it was prophetic. The enemy saw your rise long before you did. He recognized your voice, your light, your assignment, and trembled. This is why July 5th had to come, to break illusion, to awaken you to the version of yourself that darkness has always feared. Because before you knew your power, the enemy studied it. And that's why he sent betrayal to distort your focus before it could bloom. He didn't try to destroy you with war. He used whispers. He twisted loyalty into chains. He disguised sabotage as love. He made sure the one who wounded you wore familiarity's mask. Because he knew, if pain came from a stranger, you'd recover. But if it came from someone close, you'd question your own intuition. That was the tactic, to confuse, delay, and disable your discernment. But you broke through it in fusion. And now, you are dangerous. Type I am untouchable now to get the blessing 4646. This version of you, the one post-betrayal, is different. You no longer second-guess your inner knowing. You no longer apologize for your boundaries. You no longer shrink to keep peace with the wrong people. You've tasted divine clarity, and now your spirit refuses crumbs. And that refusal is what makes the enemy tremble. Because his biggest fear was never your storm, it was your stillness. Stillness that speaks louder than reaction, louder than revenge. Michael says, hell never feared your noise, it feared your knowing. The version of you that sees without speaking. The version that doesn't beg, but attracts. The version that doesn't retaliate, but releases. This version walks with eyes open, spirit sharp, posture steady. This version no longer attaches from need, but from discernment. This version doesn't bleed for those who bite. And this version is now emerging, finally, fully. Type I am fully revealed to get the blessing 7474. There were seasons you were overlooked, misunderstood, underestimated, and that worked in your favor. Because the enemy ignored you long enough to let your roots grow deep. He didn't notice the strength forming in your silence. He misread your softness as weakness. But now, because you didn't collapse under the betrayal, you are walking in a version of strength that cannot be undone. And that strength has a scent, favor. Favor follows those who remain pure through pressure, who do not curse the wound, but use it to birth wisdom. And the enemy feared that most of all. Not that you win, but that you win well. That you'd come out of fire with grace in your mouth, honor in your hands, and strategy in your soul. That you'd build altars from ashes, and teach others how to rise. Because those who rise without bitterness become revival agents. Type I am walking in favor to get the blessing 5151. The enemy feared your alignment. Because when you align with truth, heaven backs your every step. You no longer need validation to move. You no longer need company to feel safe. You no longer tolerate delay disguised as devotion. And that clarity sends tremors into dark places. Because a person who sees clearly is unshakable. And your clarity is now your calling card. This version of you will begin creating ripple effects. Watch as others begin breaking away from their own betrayals. Watch how your silence inspires strength, how your boundaries teach others how to love themselves. Michael says, your rise was never just for you. It was to light a path for those still trapped in cycles you've ended. This is legacy. This is leadership. This is why the enemy rushed your betrayal. Because he knew, if they rise past this, they'll never be stopped again. Type I am legacy in motion to get the blessing 8383. So do not mourn the betrayal anymore. Don't rehearse the wound. Don't seek closure from chaos. What left was meant to. What broke needed to. This pain had purpose, and that purpose is you. You, standing taller. You seeing clearly. You healing lively. Michael says, the test was hard because your calling is heavy, but you passed. And now the version of you hell feared is finally here, and heaven has already begun making announcements. Type I am fully awakened to get the blessing 9192. Now that you've risen, now that the test has been passed, now that betrayal has been met with wisdom, not wounds, the gates of restoration are swinging open above you. Archangel Michael says what was once paused is now proceeding. The promises that felt stuck, the breakthroughs that wouldn't birth, they were never denied. They were delayed until you were ready. And readiness doesn't come from waiting, it comes from alignment. Now, because you've aligned, restoration will not be slow, it will rush. Heaven doesn't restore in pieces, it restores in multiplied portions. This is why the betrayal had to happen first. Because what's coming next couldn't be released into an atmosphere of confusion. Michael cleared the space through separation, and now God is filling the vacancy with divine supply. Expect full circle moments, encounters that bring closure and joy. Watch for unexpected answers to old prayers, because restoration always returns with interest. Type I am ready to receive to get the blessing 9292. You will start to feel like time itself is accelerating. Things you struggled to force for months will now come easily. People who ignored you will seek you with sincerity. Ideas that once drained you will be replaced with inspired direction. That is the sign of spiritual repair taking root. Your delay wasn't punishment, it was preservation. Heaven needed to shield your blessing from corrupted hands. And now, with betrayal behind you, the blessing is safe to arrive. Michael says some of you will see relational restoration too. But it will look different this time, healthier, holier, whole. Not everyone will return, but the right ones will realign. People who carry honor, vision, peace, those who don't drain you, and the person who betrayed you. They may reach out with remorse, but this time you'll respond in truth. Not in bitterness, but in clarity. Not with access, but with boundaries. Because restoration isn't returning to what was, it's elevating from it. Type I am rising from ruin to get the blessing 3435. For many, finances will begin to move again. Money that was held up. Projects that couldn't gain traction. Ideas that never landed. All of it was tied to spiritual interference. Now that the betrayal hath been exposed and cleared, the resistance has lifted, and flow has returned. But be careful, Michael says, manage the restoration with intention. You are being trusted with supply. Don't reinvest in expired places. Put your favor where fruit can grow, not where familiarity demands it. You'll also notice your body responding to this new energy. Sleep will deepen. Stress will release. You may even find old aches dissolving. That's not coincidence. It's spiritual detox. Your body has carried the weight of unspoken betrayal for too long. Now, with truth released, the healing manifests physically. Drink water. Walk in nature. Move your body with reverence. Because your vessel is now hosting peace, not pain. Type I am healed in every dimension to get the blessing 5757. Your gifts will begin expanding too. Gifts you forgot or silence. The voice you suppressed will come back with fire. The vision you hid will return with precision. The creativity that dulled will now pour like rain. Michael says, this is reclamation. You are taking back what betrayal muted. You are reclaiming your power, your purpose, and your place. This is not about revenge. It's about reclamation with grace. You're not proving anything. You're simply remembering who you were all along. And yes, expect divine surprises, unsolicited favor, opportunities you didn't apply for, connections you never imagined entering your life. Because God isn't just restoring what was delayed. He's rewarding what you endured without cursing Him. He's so your restraint, your quiet grief, your hidden intercessions. And now, He's responding with double for the delay. That is heaven's justice for the betrayed, beauty for ashes, speed for sorrow. Type I am restored with increase to get the blessing 6363. Michael says, this isn't a reset. This is a resurrection. You didn't just survive the test. You've been rebuilt through it. And now, all that was stolen, blocked, delayed, or distorted is being placed into your hands whole, ripe, and ready. But this time, you won't handle it with fear. You'll carry it with confidence, boundaries, and discernment. Because what's restored after betrayal is sacred, and sacred things require sacred stewardship. Type I am stewarding my season to get the blessing 9898. Archangel Michael speaks this truth over you now. The betrayal was never meant to break you. It was meant to reveal you. And now, standing in the light of what you've endured, you are not the same person who walked into this storm. You've shed more than illusion. You shed old identities. The one who doubted. The one who overgave. The one who overexplained. They have been buried in the ashes of July 5th. And what rises now is nothing short of a divine reconstruction. You've become the version of yourself heaven always intended. Not harder, but wiser. Not colder, but clearer. Not defensive, but discerning. Not louder, but more aligned. The betrayal burned away what was no longer useful to your purpose. It forced you to see who was real and who was simply familiar. It called you to reintroduce yourself to you, without guilt, without apology, without shrinking to be palatable. You are now the refined version, bold, anchored, and anointed. Type I am who I was always becoming to get the blessing 7877. This new identity does not wait to be chosen, and chooses itself. It no longer begs for a seat at tables. It builds its own. You stepped into the confidence that doesn't announce. It commands. Because now you see what the enemy feared in you all along. Your capacity to see through false peace. Your grace that doesn't tolerate manipulation. Your heart that still loves, but now with limits. You stopped bleeding for people who never brought a bandage. You stopped explaining your calling to those without vision. You stopped keeping small so others don't feel insecure. This version of you doesn't fit into the boxes betrayal built. Michael says, your wings were clipped by doubt and distraction, but the betrayal tore open the cage, and now you remember you can fly. This isn't arrogance. It's awareness. You finally see your worth in full definition. Type I am fully awakened to me to get the blessing 5957. You're no longer accessible in the ways you once were. You respond differently now, not from fear, but from wisdom. You protect your peace the way you once protected the wrong people, and that boundary has become your new superpower. Michael reminds you, this shift isn't about revenge. It's about honoring your energy as sacred currency. You no longer invest where fruit doesn't grow. You've learned that love without alignment is no longer enough. Your presence feels different to others now too. Some will be drawn closer by your elevation. Others will withdraw, not because you've changed for the worse, but because your frequency has risen above their tolerance. Let them go. Let it all go. What no longer matches your identity will exit by divine force, and what remains will be what reflects your truth, because this version of you no longer entertains counterfeit connection. Type I am aligned with truth to get the blessing 3637. You've also become more spiritually tuned. Your sensitivity is no longer a weakness. It's a weapon. You feel energy shifts before words are spoken. You sense deception before it even forms. Michael says, this is what your obedience has unlocked: a heightened knowing, a clearer sight, a holier sound. You're not just walking, you're discerning in every step, and that awareness will lead you into the next divine doors. You speak with more intention now. Every word you release carries clarity and conviction. You've been refined by fire, not bitterness, and that refinement echoes in every conversation you have. People will feel your difference. Some will be healed by it. Others will be convicted. But your job is not to manage reactions. Your job is to walk as who you are now, without shrinking, without delay. You are the healed version, and healing always disrupts dysfunction. Type I am unshrinkable to get the blessing 1818. This identity was always in you. It just needed pressure to surface. Betrayal squeezed you. Pain extracted what was pure. Now what's left is the concentrated version of your purpose. You are no longer guessing. You are embodying. We're rehearsing worth. We're negotiating joy. This is your becoming, and it cannot be reversed. And as Michael watches over you now, he speaks, heaven is rejoicing, not just because you survived, but because you remembered who you are. If this word has stirred your spirit and ignited boldness within you, consider showing your support with a super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength to those journeying from betrayal to blessing. You can also support our mission through PayPal donation by clicking the support here link in the video description. Every contribution makes a meaningful impact and helps us keep creating and sharing with you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance designed for your breakthrough. Type I am fully redefined to get the blessing 2020. Now that you stepped into your true identity, Archangel Michael wants to make something abundantly clear. Heaven never elevates without confirming the shift. Your breakthrough will not just be internal, it will be echoed. The world around you will begin to realign with who you've become. And the confirmation will come not through drama or noise, but through subtle, divine signals, prophetic echoes. These signs will whisper, you're exactly where you're meant to be. The first sign will be peace in places that once brought you pain. You will revisit conversations, memories, even people, and realize the sting is gone. The ache has faded. You'll sit in rooms that once felt suffocating and feel neutral. That's not numbness. That's healing. You'll feel it in your chest. No tension, no tightness. Because when heaven restores, it also detoxes your emotions. And peace is the sound of your spirit confirming you've risen. Type I am surrounded by peace to get the blessing 4343. Another sign will be increased discernment without effort. You won't even try to read people. You will feel their truth. Conversations will expose hearts. Your spirit will either open or shut within seconds. Michael says this is not paranoia, it's prophecy in motion. You've been gifted with a sharper lens because your elevation required cleaner company. And heaven gives sight where vision is needed to protect the promise. You'll notice divine coincidences stacking around you. Repeated numbers, psalms with specific lyrics, random people affirming something you've prayed in silence. A door opens after you speak a word aloud. An old contact messages you the moment you decide to move forward. These are not accidents. They are prophetic confirmations. Michael calls them winks from heaven. Little signs that the timeline you're walking is holy. Type I am walking a holy timeline to get the blessing 2223. Financial shifts will come. Subtle but steady. You won't win the lottery, but you'll feel the lift. Bills paid without anxiety. Clients responding. New opportunities trickling in from old seeds. This is heaven saying, the drought is over. Because betrayal delayed provision, but obedience activates flow. And now, your yes has unlocked your harvest. You'll be amazed at how doors swing open with little force. You'll also notice unexpected ease. Tasks you once struggled to finish now flow effortlessly. You're no longer pushing, you're being pulled by grace. That's a sign that resistance has lifted. Michael says when spiritual obstruction is removed, purpose becomes magnetic. And you are now a magnet. The right people, the right resources, the right rhythm. They find you, not because you chase them, but because you aligned. Type I am flowing in ease to get the blessing 4141. Even nature will seem to echo your shift. Birds crossing your path. Winds rising at the right time. Light breaking through clouds just as you pray. These are divine mirrors. The natural world responding to the supernatural. Because everything God made recognizes when a soul has been released. And your release has been loud in the spirit. The earth is rejoicing with you now, and heaven is nodding. This is how prophets walk, where even silence becomes confirmation. One powerful sign you'll feel is disinterest in the old. Not hatred, just distance. The things you used to tolerate, chase, or cry for now they feel small. Not beneath you, just behind you. Michael says this is identity maturity. You're not above them. You've simply outgrown the version of you who needed them. And that outgrowing is the greatest sign that you've entered your new season. You no longer need convincing. You just know. Type I am walking in maturity to get the blessing 1616. And finally, you'll sense anticipation without anxiety, hope without tension, expectation without exhaustion. Because for the first time in a long time, you trust the process. You're not watching the clock, you're watching the fruit. You're not checking who left, you're noticing who stayed. This is not complacency, it's contentment, deeply rooted. Michael says, this is where the called dwell, in calm, not chaos. And that calm is confirmation that you are no longer operating in survival mode. Type I am planted in purpose to get the blessing 5859. Next, Part 14. Why heaven waited for this exact moment to elevate you. Shall I continue with Part 14? Part 14. Why heaven waited for this exact moment to elevate you. Word count, 800. Archangel Michael declares with clarity and finality. The timing of your elevation was never accidental. Heaven didn't delay your rise to punish you. It waited to protect you. Because premature promotion is a trap, not a blessing. God didn't want to elevate a version of you that still needed to heal. still needed validation, still feared letting go of familiar faces. Heaven waited because you weren't meant to carry the crown with hands still bound in soul ties and misplaced loyalty. Everything you just walked through, the betrayal, the test, the silence, the clarity, the release, was preparation. Michael says it wasn't a punishment, it was pruning. Pruning doesn't mean you were barren, it means you were being shaped. And now that the dead weight is gone, your branches can stretch. Now that your soul has been refined by fire and forgiven without bitterness, now that you see with heaven's eyes instead of wounded ones, this is the moment your elevation can sustain itself. Type I'm rising in right timing to get the blessing 3333. If elevation had come sooner, it would have felt like pressure. It would have drawn the wrong attention, the wrong partnerships. The spotlight would have exposed your vulnerability instead of your strength, and the people still tied to you would have exploited your platform. But now, you know how to guard your oil. Now, you know how to say no without guilt. Now, your discernment is not a reaction, it's your rhythm. This is why heaven waited, because now, you are ready. Michael reveals, some doors were divinely locked until your yes matured. Not your verbal yes, your obedient yes. The kind that walks away quietly. The kind that lets people leave. The yes that doesn't beg, explain, or negotiate. You had to grow into that yes through disappointment and clarity. And now, that yes has become your elevation key. God always honors the yes that costs something, and yours just unlocked a gate others couldn't see. Type I am holding the key now to get the blessing 6869. This timing also aligns with prophetic cycles. Heaven works in patterns, times, dates, numbers, alignments. July 5th wasn't a test date chosen at random. It was a spiritual intersection, an opening in the calendar of destiny. The betrayal came when it did because the release had already been scheduled. The moment you passed the test, your timeline shifted. Now everything accelerates, not by chance but by prophetic synchronization. You are no longer behind. You are on divine schedule. Some things you desired last year were too heavy for your old version. Now they will arrive easily, not because you changed your effort, but because you changed your energy. Michael says, effort without elevation becomes exhaustion, but effort after alignment becomes divine expansion. This is why heaven delayed, because your heart posture had to catch up. Now that it has, even small movement will produce massive fruit. You've entered the zone where time obeys your surrender. Type I am synced with heaven to get the blessing 7272. Another reason heaven waited, the exposure. You had to see who was loyal to your heart versus your need, who was present for your journey, not just your benefits. If elevation had come before betrayal, the wrong hands would have handled your blessings. Your name would have been used as leverage. But now, the veil is lifted. The wheat has been separated from the weeds, and only the authentic will rise with you. You are safer now. Yarpu. Quieter. Less emotional, more spiritual. Less reactive, more responsive. You're not ascending as a broken soul. You're ascending as a healed vessel. Michael says this kind of elevation is rare because it's not fueled by ambition. It's released through obedience. You didn't climb your way here. You surrendered your way in. And surrender is always heaven's elevator. Now you rise, without striving, without apology. Type I am elevated by surrender to get the blessing 9090. So let this timing anchor your faith. Let it remind you that delay does not mean denial. That heaven is not withholding, it's strategizing. And now that the blueprint has been followed, now that your heart is unchained and your soul is still, now that the distractions have left and your roots have deepened, you are stepping into favor without fallout. You're rising at the exact moment heaven has declared. Now, type I am in divine timing to get the blessing 6161. You've come through the fire. You've passed the test. You didn't crumble under betrayal, didn't react in bitterness. You obeyed the whisper instead of the noise. And now, Archangel Michael stands beside you, not with trumpet or spectacle, but with a still nod of approval. Because the highest rewards aren't always loud. Sometimes, the holiest gifts arrive wrapped in silence. The silent rewards are the ones others don't notice, but your soul does. Like waking up without anxiety, or walking into a room and not drinking. Like finally hearing your own thoughts without noise, or feeling safe inside your own body again. These are the riches that can't be bought or stolen. These are the gifts obedience births in private. You now carry a peace that's no longer performative. You don't need to explain your worth. You simply walk in it. You don't need to defend your path. It defends itself. This kind of clarity is earned, not given. And heaven gives it only to those who listen when it's hardest. You listened. You trusted. You changed. Without an audience, without applause. Michael says, you are now the quiet storm. You move gently, but carry thunder in your discernment. You forgive but never forget the lesson. You give love, but not at the cost of your alignment. And this new rhythm will protect you far beyond July 5th. Because the person who emerges from divine obedience doesn't just walk into blessing, they become the blessing. And that's what you are now, a walking answer, a fulfilled prophecy. So breathe. Let the dust of betrayal settle behind you. Let the silence speak louder than old cycles. You no longer need to fight for what's yours. It's already rising to meet you. Because obedience doesn't chase favor, it magnetizes it. And you, beloved, are magnetic in the spirit now. Let it flow. Let it come to you. If this word has stirred your spirit and ignited boldness within you, consider showing your support with a super thanks of $20. Your generosity empowers us to continue releasing prophetic guidance, clarity, and strength to those journeying from betrayal to blessing. You can also support our mission through PayPal donation by clicking the Support Here link in the video description. Every contribution makes a meaningful impact and helps us keep creating and sharing with you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a moment of divine instruction, heavenly insight, and spirit-led guidance designed for your breakthrough. Type I am the fulfillment of prophecy to get the blessing 7779.